Experience the Wild West all next week at 8 on TTV4.
Last year, a shootout in the Hinkle semi-state and a tough day for number 33 in white Kojak Fuller of Anderson. His efforts for the number 1 Indians, a tough day. Only 9 of 32. It made the big difference in Ben Davis's upset. The Giants ran the court. They hit the threes. They did everything right in winning 96-87. Tonight they meet again for a trip to the Dome. TTV4 Productions presents the Indianapolis Semi-State. Brought to you by Marsh, where we value you. By McDonald's, where what you want is what you get at McDonald's today. And by your Central Indiana Pontiac dealers. It's the biggest game in the state. A rematch tonight between number 1, the Anderson Indians, and the Giants of Ben Davis. Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Barber. These same two teams met back at the Wigwam in January on the 23rd. It was a Saturday night. It was a blowout for Anderson. But Norm Hell, the Anderson coach, told me minutes before tonight's game, hey, that didn't count. That was just a warm-up game. This is the real thing tonight. And with that in mind, Mac, both teams are really focused.
Well, I think you can throw that game right out the window. This here is what the game that's really going to count and should be a terrific ball game if it's anything close to what it was last year.
Kojak Fuller, as always, will be a key for the Anderson Indians. A tough shooting day today, but he led them in scoring and, as usual, was tough inside.
Well, he's awful tough, especially off the dribble. There we see him operating with the basketball. He's awful tough. He didn't shoot the ball particularly well this afternoon, but he's an awful good offensive player.
And Maurice Fuller for the season averages 28 points a game, his season high in the neighborhood of 40. As for his counterpart, Scott George, a terrific outside shooter for Ben Davis. He got him going with the threes.
Well, he was able to knock down that three with consistency earlier on in that ball game. He really finished strong, and he'll have to have a good ball game tonight.
In fact, Scott George actually had 11 of Ben Davis's first 11 points, got him off to a great start, and he was beating Columbus North single-handedly in that game. Of course, as always, his outside shooting is going to be a factor tonight, but there are a lot of other keys in tonight's game, and let's take a look at some of the things that we think will be important, starting with Ben Davis.
Well, Ben Davis must block out. The last time these two teams played, Ben Davis gave up 17 offensive rebounds. They can't afford to do that tonight. They must contain Tyson Britt. Even though he's under the weather, he got him for 26 points last time out, and he was also sick that particular game.
All right, let's move over to the Anderson keys. Not much of a bench. That could be the difference.
Well, they're a little thin on the pine, so they're going to have to stay out of foul trouble. They had a problem with that in this afternoon's game, and they're going to have to disrupt Scott George defensively.
And that's what the Indians did the first time in winning by 8. When we come back, the starting lineup for the showdown at Hinkle.
It's the store-wide savings spectacular at Value City Furniture. Starting only $298, choose from a huge selection of famous Craner sofas in all the latest styles, colors, and fabrics, including incredible savings on Craner designer sofas. Your choice of 4-piece jade or granite finished bedrooms now $498. Craner rocker recliners $198. 3-piece dinette, 3-piece table set, white daybed, or all wood bunk bed, your choice $59. Get 90 days same as cash during the store-wide savings spectacular now at Value City Furniture.
This is my 3rd car purchase, and I have never been anywhere and had that type of service.
I didn't expect to get financed, and I did, and I was very, very surprised. They more or less put you with a car that was you.
Come let us show you the easy way, the Tom Wood way.
Tom Wood, J.D. by Ryder.
I'm a big guy. I'm 6'9", 222 pounds, and I'm an awful big eater. I love hamburgers. When I order them, it's just a regular hamburger. I order 6. If it's a quarter pounder, I order 3. I call this the Big 33. It's got a quarter-pound hamburger with cheese. Got some bacon, barbecue sauce, a few pickles, and some onions. Pretty tasty. Good as advertised.
Fresh has a name, fresh has a place to be. Fresh is our aim, fresh
Jim Barber and George McGinnis back at Hinkle Fieldhouse. As always, a lot of pageantry tied up with the semi-state tournament. And let's turn it to Ed Watson for the introduction to the festivities.
Association Boys Basketball Tournament and tonight's Indianapolis Semi-State Championship game. For your pre-game enjoyment, I would like to present the Lawrence North Guard. Please stand as Lawrence North James Womack plays our national anthem.
Pretty sterling rendition of the national anthem. There are only 8 teams remaining in the state tournament. And let's begin with the 2 finalists of the semi-state at Evansville. No surprise, as Jeffersonville hopes to make it back an easy winner this afternoon, while WRB won it by 2, 50-48. In Lafayette, Carmel hopes to make it to the Final Four. A winner over Lafayette Jeff by 15, 63-48. And Maryville rolling along with their 23rd win of the year for Jim East. They win it by 16. We'll have updates on all the scores tonight. Warsaw and El Rhodes trying to make it back to the finals again, while South Bend St. Joe trying to play spoiler at 24-2. And of course, here in Indianapolis, it will be Ben Davis and Anderson tonight. Ben Davis had a tough match with Columbus North earlier this afternoon. Anderson a little bit easier time against Newcastle, winning by 18. We talked to Sam Alford before tonight's game. Very pleased with his team's run during the tournament, not so much during the regular season, Mac, and yet a lot of good things for Newcastle in the future.
Well, they got a lot of things to build on from the effort they displayed in tournament play. They had a disappointing finish to their season, but again, they played an outstanding tourney, and they got a lot of people returning, and they got nothing but bright things to look forward to in the future.
There's the tradition you saw moments ago of Anderson High School. And you look in the eyes of Ben Davis as the Giants get set for their biggest game. Steve Woody was saying tonight, ever since last spring, Ben Davis has focused itself on making its first ever trip to the Final Four, and these kids have been set on that very objective, and they have not strayed from it, and now they're 4 quarters away from it. Of course, it won't be easy against #1 tonight.
Well, it certainly will not be easy. I mean, it's one thing to want to be in the Final Four, but it's a whole other thing getting there, and they're going to have to play a heck of a ball game in order to make that Final Four.
In the season numbers, not much of a difference except in the free throw shooting. Ben Davis is a bit better at 71% as opposed to Anderson's 59. Everything else pretty much even. The Giants commit about 4 more turnovers a game, but both teams have played very tough competition during the regular season, so you can't draw much upon the schedule. Each team has been #1 at certain times of the year, and actually Anderson knocked Ben Davis off the perch of #1 by beating him at the Wigwam back in January. Now let's go back to Ed Watson for the introduction to tonight's starting lineups.
Here are the rosters and starting lineups for tonight's game. First to the visiting team, the Anderson Indians. Number 15, Marcus Cooley. Number 24, Paul Campbell. Number 25, John Cunningham. Number 31, Daniel Kelly. Number 35, Kirk Horton. Number 53, Jason Clay. And now the starters. At 1 forward, a 6'4" senior, number 51, Prince McClendon. Starting at the other forward, a 6'3" senior, number 43, Tyson Britt. Starting at center, a 6'6" senior, number 55, Ben Klusmeyer. Starting at 1 guard, a 5'10" junior, number 13, Jimmy Campbell. And the other guard, a 5'7" senior, number 33, Kojak Fuller. And the Anderson head coach is Mr. Norm Held. And now for the home team, the Ben Davis Giants. Number 22, Jonathan Chastain. Number 24, Reese Peacock. Number 34, Ahmed Bellamy. Number 40, Vincent Gurnell. Number 42, Derek Whitty. Number 44, James Patterson. Number 54, Mark McLaurin. And now the starters for the Giants. At 1 forward, a 6'3" senior, number 50, Micah Reed. Starting at the other forward, a 6'3" sophomore, number 30, Damon Frierson. Starting at center, a 6'8" senior, number 52, Damon Parks. Starting at 1 guard, a 5'11" senior, number 20, Scott George. And the other guard is a 5'7" junior, number 10, Don Mallory. And the Ben Davis Giant coach is Steve Whitty.
Steve Whitty in his 4th season at Ben Davis. Served as an assistant with the Giants for 11 years and has done a terrific job getting them within a game of the finals. Last year they lost out in the championship game of the semi-state on a last-second shot to Richmond, and Richmond, as you know by now, went on to win the title. Gary Leicester and Jeffrey Simmons will call the game tonight, and Norm Held was saying moments before this one started back, if they let the players play, that's more to our liking. If the whistle's getting away, we'll have trouble.
Well, certainly that will favor Ben Davis. I really think the big key for Ben Davis, if they are going to win this ball game, is going to be the play of their frontline people. Reed, Frierson, and Parks, they have to come up big.
So Ben Davis breaks huddle, and here we go. It's great to have you along wherever you're watching across the state. This is a huge one tonight. Ben Davis arrived prior to 7 o'clock. Anderson a little more nonchalantly at about 7:30, but both teams appear to be very ready. Anderson very relaxed, so are the Giants, and we're set to play basketball. The winner gets the winner from Lafayette in game 1 at the Dome the next Saturday. Parks against McClendon. And as the two players get set, we're ready to start the championship. Anderson draws first blood, and Jimmy Campbell has the ball. And Davis, which plays exclusively man-to-man, will open in the same. Fuller yet to touch the ball as Campbell goes baseline. Stripped away by George, and a good defensive play, knocking it off Campbell. Now Anderson will come with some full court pressure right off the bat. Little Don Mallory at 5'7", matched up against the mighty might of Anderson. Kojak Fuller at 5'7". Nobody giving any height away there.
Well, Mallory's going to have his hands full with Kojak. He's awful tough off the dribble, especially with
There's a good start as Mallory hits the bomb. It's 3-0 Ben Davis. Well, you mentioned earlier today, that's not what teams expect for Mallory to shoot it. Campbell can shoot it, and he's way off the mark. Kojak gets the rebound and follows up and scores.
Well, when Mallory can get you points, you look at that as being a bonus. And he's not going to score a whole lot of points for you, but when he can get them, it's certainly needed.
George can get the points, and he misses his first free try. Good offensive rebound by Micah Reed. And the boarding very important in this game, and Ben Davis showing signs early that they're going to contest Anderson on the rebounds.
It's a good sign. Ben Davis's big people being very active inside earlier on here.
Now Campbell with a pull-up jumper, misses that one, and 3 Ben Davis Giants are on the ball. Now Parks will slow it up and get some help from Mallory.
Good play there by Parks. Scott George giving the ball to Parks in a bad position. Parks smart enough to pull it back out.
Now they're cutting Frierson on the corner. Back to Scott George. They'll try to push George out like they did at the Wigwam to force him to shoot far, and there's Parks on his shot. And getting him on the elbow is Prince McClendon for the first foul of the game, and that means Damon Parks will shoot a couple. So Damon Parks steps to the line, and another look as to why he got fouled.
Rob Mallory does a good job there. Reed sitting a nice pick for Park. He comes off and looks to take the jumper, and of course, is that McClendon or?
Prince McClendon with his first foul.
Got the foul there.
Who is a 72% free throw shooter, gets his first point. He had 15 in the first matchup against Anderson, and those were his numbers earlier today. Frierson battling with a second chance, and just missed it. Here's Parks underneath, and he got fouled. And let's go back to our keys of the game. We told you about moments ago. Ben Davis wanting to rebound better and has rebounded better.
And especially on the offensive end, they've come up with 3 opportunities or 2 opportunities on that particular sequence. There we see the foul shot. Look at Frierson battle for that ball. Couldn't get it to go down.
Unusual, but Anderson calls timeout to get regrouped. So just 2 minutes in the game, the Indians want a break. Ben Davis off the dime early, leading 6-2 in this semi-state championship.
We got boats, we got boats at Ted's Aquamarine.
Ted's is your Mercury outboard dealer and complete boating center. Fishing and bass boats, runabouts, ski boats, cruisers, deck boats, and pontoons, all powered by Mercury Outboards. And boat show specials continue on selected models.
Get the boat you want when you see what you like at Ted's Aquamarine.
Buy now and save at Ted's Aquamarine, your authorized Mercury dealer.
She likes milk and it shows. She's got great muscle tone. She likes milk and it shows. Strong, healthy bones.
body good with vitamin A to help keep skin smooth, calcium for strong bones, and protein to help build muscle. When you drink milk, it shows. She likes milk and it shows. It does her body good.
And we're back in the Hinkle Semi-State Championship game. Damon Parks stepping to the line for the third time tonight. Against Anderson in the first game at the Wigwam, he was 3 of 6 from the stripe to go those 15 points. And moments earlier, he left 1 of 2. So it remains Ben Davis 6 and Anderson 2. Unusual for a team to use a timeout that quickly as Norm Held did.
Well, it was an awful quick timeout for Anderson, which tells you that Norm Held's a little concerned about what's going on in this ball game. And Damon Parks very active here earlier on, and that's a great sign for Ben Davis.
So Parks has hit 2 of 4 from the line. Fuller gets a pick and fires. Kojak Fuller looks like he's on the mark tonight, and he has the 4 Anderson points. He is capable of exploding. He had 15 first-quarter points back in the first matchup with Ben Davis.
Well, Mallory's going to have a lot of trouble with him, especially coming off the pick. He's going to have to get some help from his teammates.
Ben Davis leading by 3, and we played 2.5 minutes. Jim Barber, George McGinnis, and a near sellout at Hinkle. And there's Micah Reed inside 15 with a jumper.
Ben Davis really concentrating on getting the ball to their inside people and their delivery.
2 baskets for Micah Reed. Here's Fuller getting loose, and George stripped it away. They've got a 3-on-1 if they can get it to Mallory. He got fouled, and Ben Davis going back to the line.
Wow.
The Giants have done a good job of taking charge early, and this is not what happened in Anderson when the Indians jumped out to a 10-point first-quarter lead. And Steve Woody was telling me he thought a couple of his sophomores actually got intimidated in that game.
Excellent defensive play by Scott George, and he really missed Mallory up the floor. He got it to Frierson, who got it to Mallory, and he drew the foul there, but excellent defense here by Ben Davis.
Mallory sinks the first one. He's up to 5. Already has a 3-pointer in this game, and it is 10-4 Ben Davis.
I don't know how much zone defense this Anderson Indian team plays, but it might be something that they're going to have to look to if they continue to pick up their early fouls.
Ben Davis by 7. Campbell quickly in the front court. Here's Brett. Rebound to George, and Ben Davis wants to push it if they can get a hold of it. Ordinarily, Steve Woody says we don't want to get in a track meet with them, but we know the Giants can push the basketball up. Here's Frierson left open. That's a 3. And Ben Davis leads by 10.
Wow.
Wow, indeed.
You think Ben Davis has made a statement here?
The #1 team in the state is Anderson, but they're down by doubles. And now Kojak Fuller gets the roll, and he's got all 6 for the Indians.
Ben Davis isolating Reed and Parks on the opposite side of the court, and they're sitting picks to each other and really doing a good job of spacing their offense, and it's really caused Anderson some problems here.
Foul is on Tyson Brett, and that's his 2nd. And again, Brett had the 25-point performance for Anderson in the victory over Ben Davis. In fact, after the game, Steve Woody said he was just out of sight. Brett was well over his average that game, and he did well on the boards, hit some threes, and really did the Giants in, but he's in foul trouble early. Ryerson another 3, this time a little strong. And Prince McClendon with the board. Here's Fuller with a high dribble, and as he drives to the lane, Mallory got him at the free throw line. That is the first foul of the game on Ben Davis, and a rather sarcastic cheer goes up from the Anderson fans directly behind us.
Well, Mallory's going to have to get some help, especially when Kojak goes to penetrate him. The players from Ben Davis is really going to have to be aware of where he is, especially when he has the basketball.
What he says will send a lot of people after Kojak, but he's got the shooting touch. 4 of 5, and he's got 8. So Kojak Fuller with all 8 points so far. Now a steal by Kuzmeyer. Here's Fuller again against Mallory. Lost the ball, and he traveled. second Anderson turnover. And Steve Whitty's Giants so far off to a pretty good start. That's what they had hoped for after getting behind by as many as 18 in the first matchup against Anderson.
Well, the key for them right now is continue to pound that ball inside. They've got Britt with 2 fouls, and they're consistently getting put to the free throw line. Don't forget about that area.
Another Ben Davis turnovers. The Giants try to push it inside. Like Anderson, they also have 2 turnovers. Here's Fuller with the 3. Good.
Boy, I'll tell you what, he is carrying the load tonight. He's got all of Ben Davis's points here earlier on, and outstanding.
And he's got Anderson back in it. Now Mallory left alone, put it up against McClendon. Here's the rebound by Parks, missed it. Second try, third try. And the rebound to McClendon, and now the momentum is switched. Campbell looking to tie, pulls it back out. Now Campbell jumper, and Anderson is starting to get it going.
They're heating it up. Campbell, really good move there off penetration. Really outstanding little player. Did a great job this afternoon.
Anderson on a 9-0 run. Keyed by the play of Maurice Fuller, and now backed up by the basket by Campbell. 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. There's Micah Reed. And a rebound to the Indians who can take the lead. Here's Fuller in the open court. What a move. McClendon missed it. And a foul coming up on Micah Reed.
Boy, that was a great pass there by Kojak. McClendon not able to get the play finished, but Anderson now really starting to assert themselves. It looks like we're going to have a great ball game, Jim.
And Matt Kojak Fuller really ignited the Indians. He has got the touch tonight. He has 11 of Anderson's 13 points as James Patterson will check in for Ben Davis.
Well, Kojak especially looks much more focused in this particular ball game than he did this afternoon.
This time he misses that one, and Patterson off the loose ball. Mallory going one-on-one will pull it back out against Campbell. George, his first 3. Good! This could be a terrific championship game. George's first basket of the game. He had missed his earlier 3, and it's Ben Davis stopping the 9-0 run. They lead by 4. Here's Fuller to try to answer. That one was way off left, and here's Mallory in a foot race. And Mallory gets fouled. He'll go to the line. Already 5 team fouls on Anderson. And little Don Mallory making Jimmy Campbell and the Indians work.
Well, you know, Anderson has taken a few shots out of the flow, which has really given Ben Davis an opportunity to rebound and get the ball out quickly without having defense back. And that time, Don Mallory done a good job of taking advantage of that.
Jimmy Campbell with 2 personal fouls in the game. And again, Anderson with 5 team fouls as Mallory goes back to the line.
This
he now has 6 points on the game, and the lead is up to 5.
This is a tough little guy. He's got his father's heart, and I'll tell you what, he gives Ben Davis everything they need from the point guard position. I'm a little prejudiced in the way I'm talking about this.
I hardly noticed that. Mallory had 2 personal fouls early in the first game against Anderson, but so far has stayed out of foul trouble, and Ben Davis has stopped the run for the moment. Anderson had ripped off 9 straight points, but Ben Davis has answered with 5 of their own. Here's Fuller on the penetration. Left it short. Klusmeyer tip, no. And Ben Davis, for the moment, seems to have quelled the storm. Under a minute left in the first quarter.
Really nice pace for Ben Davis.
Look at the ball handling of Mallory.
Really doing a good job of being patient here. Not forcing the issue.
Here's George to force the 3. It's a little long. And off the loose ball, it's knocked out of bounds and will belong to Anderson with a tick under 39 seconds remaining in the first quarter as Damon Parks will check back in. Actually, Parks checks out and Micah Reed will enter the game.
Parks showing lots of aggressiveness, something that we have not seen, especially last week. He played a little bit better this afternoon, but boy, he's been active here earlier in this ball game.
And Steve Whitty expects him to play even better tonight. Anderson spreading the offense, bringing everybody out to look for one shot or perhaps a back door.
See, I think this is a better matchup for Ben Davis, having Frierson on Kojak.
Good penetration there by Kelly. Puts up the shot and in. Kelly had the big game this afternoon for Anderson. And the former JV stars putting it together. Final seconds. Mallory a long three. Just missed it. And after 1 quarter, it's Ben Davis 19. Number 1 Anderson 15.
On the one hand, you want this. On the other hand, you've got one spouse, a couple of kids, one large animal, and a whole bunch of other stuff to move around. A problem? Nah. When you can get a sports handling package, fog lamps, 5-spoke wheels, special trim, sunscreen glass, and more on the new Dodge Caravan Sport Wagon. Plus almost $1,000 in total savings. Caravan Sport Wagon. It takes care of your needs and wants. See your nearest Dodge dealer today.
Marsh is proud to be a telecast sponsor of the IHSAA Boys Basketball Championships. Congratulations to those teams that have it all in the bag.
When these two teams met the first time back in Anderson in January, they were ranked 1 and 3. The Giants number 1 and Anderson number 3. This time around, the Indians have the number 1 distinction. And in the first quarter, 3-point shooting, Ben Davis has the edge. Giants leading on the board by 4, 19-15 as we start the second quarter. I'm Jim Barber, courtside with George McGinnis. The road to the Dome continues tonight as Frierson gets hung up and gives it back to Mallory. Now on a skip pass, here's Frierson again. Put it up with the left hand and missed it. There's Prince McClendon underneath. Boy, he does a great job of clearing out, Mac.
Yeah, he's a great athlete. He's strong to the ball, both ends of the court.
Here's Kojak Fuller getting a pick from Kuzmeyer out front. And a personal foul coming up on Ben Davis.
That was on Frierson, and really, with his size, he's got such a height advantage on Kojak. He really should play him straight up, not try and go for the steal there. We saw him get a little handsy there, and the referee awarded Kojak with a foul.
And that's Damon Frierson's first personal foul. The sophomore at 6'3", 170, a good one for Ben Davis. He's matched up against Kojak Fuller. A little more height in this matchup. Now off the two-man game, Fuller penetrates and scores.
Boy, that's a tough shot. Running little floater side of the bucket. Can't tell you how tough that shot is to make. Excellent play.
And that's 13 points for Kojak Fuller. Here's Frierson trying to penetrate on Kelly. Had to pick up his dribble and give it back to Mallory. Now they look for George on the cut. That's a 2. Look at Ben Davis get position underneath, but finally Fuller comes out. Fuller pull up 3. Missed it. That's one of the few shots he has missed.
He's got a hot hand here tonight.
And it remains 19-17 Ben Davis. The winner will take on either Carmel or Merrillville in game 1 at the Hoosier Dome next Saturday. We'll have that for you on Channel 4. Now they find George in the left corner. Parks' shot is blocked. Or rather, Micah Reed's shot is blocked, and Parks gets the lay-in.
Boy, he is being aggressive inside tonight and really being rewarded. And he's playing like the Parks we haven't seen here in the last 3 ball games, but he's going to have to continue to play that way. The Giants want to win this ball game.
Parks averages 15 a game. He's scored 4 tonight. That's the lead for Ben Davis as Kelly looks underneath to McClendon. They find Kuzmeyer, who backs in and scores. It's interesting, the Indians don't use Big Ben as much as perhaps they should, but since he's so close to the basket, he doesn't have a bad touch.
Well, he's such an unselfish guy. He really looks like he's a player who can put some points on the board. He doesn't look to score that often, less off the offensive glass, but there he showed some offensive skills with a little turnaround jump shot.
He had a couple of good offensive rebounds today for baskets against Newcastle. So the tempo has slowed down a bit, and Ben Davis holding on to a 2-point lead with 5:30 to go in the half. Good position underneath, and that's Damon Parks.
That's Ben Davis's pace right there. That's an excellent play. They ran their offense perfectly and looked to get the ball inside, and that's going to pay dividends for him.
Damon Parks has 6. Look at the position on Klusmeyer.
Oh, good position. He presents himself well. Frierson does a good job of delivering the ball, and Parks catches it, gets a good base, and he takes it up strong here for an opportunity for a three-point play.
That's Klusmeyer's first personal foul, and number 6 on Anderson. And Parks, who had a pretty good game the first time out against Anderson, scoring 15, is looking for a 7-point here. And Davis 24, Anderson 19. Reese Peacock along with John Chastain now in the game for Ben Davis. Now McClendon lost the ball to Klusmeyer, who lays it up and missed it. He'll get a second chance, maybe. Wasn't very orthodox, but it results in a shot miss. Here's McClendon on the boards. And finally, after a third try, Ben Davis with the rebound. McClendon wanted a foul. Now Chastain almost traveled and finally finds George. Peacock's a good outside shooter, and Steve Whitty's saying he gets the green light when he comes in. Had a couple of huge threes against Lawrence North, and he can hit the bomb. So a couple of good perimeter shooters in the game. And off the held ball, it's going to be a turnover for Ben Davis as Anderson will get the ball.
Well, not a good delivery there by Scott George. Really needs to do a better job of getting the ball to his big people inside. He just kind of floated that pass there, and the defense from Anderson was able to get a hand on it.
A high school game, just like the college game, no jump balls. Unless we're starting the game or into overtime. Everything else is a held ball, and the possession arrow moves between the two teams.
I really hate this rule. I have never liked it, and I just really think that you get down to the last minutes or seconds of a ball game, and the team goes out and has to play tough defense, and all of a sudden there's a jump ball, and the possession arrows is in the favor of the team that has possession of the ball. It's just a rule that I'm not particularly a great lover of.
Of course, when they had the jump ball back in your day, you usually won every one of them.
We're a lot bigger than our opponents.
Here's Fuller on the baseline. That's his first shots he's missed badly, and a rebound to Ben Davis. The Giants protecting a 5-point lead. McClendon with the pressure and the trap. Peacock didn't look at the basket, and now looks to back it into Chastain, and here's George. On the skip pass, Peacock can hit that shot. Air ball there, taken out of the air by Anderson. Campbell on the break, stolen away. Now Ben Davis has a 4-on-1. Patterson.
Oh, wow! McClendon. Great defense by McClendon.
What a block by Prince McClendon. Now here's Fuller, and before you get off the shot, Scott George got him on the arrow.
Well, we talk about athleticism. I hope we can take a look at that play. McClendon back defensively with 3 Giants coming at him, was able to defend them off. Good delivery. Excellent defense there by McClendon, and got the rebound and got it out on the fast break. Excellent defensive job.
The first 2 times, or the first time these teams met, it was defense Norm Heldbelt that won the game. Played some great defensive pressure on Ben Davis. Campbell's shot rims in and out. And the Indians have been held to just 4 points here in the second quarter. It was 19-15 at the end of the first stop, and now it's 24-19 Ben Davis.
Ben Davis getting away from really what's been effective for him, and that's really getting the ball inside in the paint, and really need to concentrate more on that area here.
Let's see if George or Chastain look underneath for Patterson. They do. Patterson put it up short. Off the loose ball and over the back. Damon Parks went flying. Everybody seems to be okay as Parks tumbled over Jimmy Campbell.
Boy, these kids are working hard, huh?
They sure are. There's a lot at stake. There's the motivation, among other things, for Anderson of revenge. And for Ben Davis, it's the chance to take the school to the Final Four for the first time ever.
And that's always a big thrill. And not only getting there, but just the thought of winning it all and what that's all about and what it means.
In this game, Parks and Reed have been interchangeable, so Micah Reed is back in, and Damon Parks, who has 1 personal foul, sits out. 16 fouls on Anderson, 5 on Davis. McClendon works the 2-man game with Fuller. Kojak's cooled off a little bit, and a rebound to Frierson. A low-scoring second quarter after a high-voltage start. Now Patterson, a good look at the basket, got Klusmeyer in the air and missed the shot. Got the rebound, though, and put it up short. And now it's going to be Patterson over the back, and James not very happy with himself. He knew he should have had a basket there.
Both teams here are really struggling to get it done offensively this last minute or two.
Maybe the official timeout will help them out. 2:31 left in the first half. It remains 24-19. Ben Davis.
The people are good, the selection is good, and the service is good.
I was able to get the car same day.
I love it. I love it. I mean, I wish I had a job where I drove more.
I've never worked with anyone that was that personable.
I did it the Tom Wood way.
Come let us show you the easy way, the Tom Wood way.
I think the first time I went to McDonald's was in Bloomington, Indiana. I was driving down the road, and all of a sudden, I think my father got hungry, and he says, time to eat. Even today, I still enjoy eating hamburgers from McDonald's. About time to have one now. I call this the Big 33. I got a quarter-pound hamburger with cheese, got some bacon, barbecue sauce, a few pickles, and some onions. Matter of fact, it's got a lot of barbecue sauce. I'm going to say, give me a 99, 3 33s. I need a napkin, got some barbecue sauce on me.
One thing that concerns Steve Woody and Ben Davis is the great athleticism of the Anderson Indians. We mentioned earlier they do not want to get in a track meet with this team. But somehow, some way, they must find a way to table that athleticism. I don't know if you can really do that, can you?
Well, it's pretty hard when kids have got the type of ability that these kids from Anderson have. I played on basketball teams where, you know, players have had tons of ability, and it's pretty tough because everyone wants to be able to use their individual skills.
The shooting numbers have dropped off, and Kojak Fuller, after struggling for a while, now has his 6th field goal in 13 tries and 15 points for the game. He has over 70% of Anderson's points so far as we get down to 2 minutes. Here's Frierson with a look at the basket. And Davis hanging on to a 3-point lead.
Ben Davis really not attacking offensively. Really need to concentrate getting the ball inside here. Parks posted up, and Frierson missed him there.
Parks battling against Ben Klusmeyer, gets a pick from Micah Reed, and now gets the ball and puts it in.
And that's what happens when Ben Davis gets the ball in the paint. They get results.
Damon Parks now with 9. Here's Fuller going to work and firing and scoring.
Well,
is he terrific or what?
I'll tell you, he is just outstanding. And I think Norm Hell was not too far from being wrong when he said that this kid is the best 5'7" player in the world.
We told you earlier this afternoon, Norm says he has no weaknesses. Scott George answering with a 3.
Well, this game is either feast or famine. We've had some dead spots, but when it's been live, it's been real live.
That's a good point. Seems like the timeout has revitalized both teams. Here's Fuller going to work one-on-one. Got it again.
Are you serious?
It's a Kojak Fuller highlight film tonight.
Well, he didn't shoot well this afternoon, and he shot awful in the semi-state last year in the final against this Ben Davis team, but he's lighting it up tonight.
He's got 19 points back as we get down to the final seconds of the first half, and wide open is Chastain. Good look by Frierson to find Jonathan Chastain loose on the baseline. That's his first basket. And it's a 6-point lead. Let's see how Anderson plays the final 30 seconds. We'll check in with George McGinnis at halftime as he'll talk with the coaches. Now Campbell nearly lost control. Time on your screen is the time remaining here in the first half. Here's Campbell on the baseline. Tough shot. Missed it. And over the back is Prince McClendon. And Ben Davis is going to the line for a 1-and-1. So good position by the Giants on the defensive board, and Prince McClendon picks up his second foul. There's a good look at the senior forward who fouled out earlier this afternoon after scoring 13 points, had 9 rebounds and a couple of blocks. Reed at the free throw line trying to up his point total. He's got 4. It's a 1-and-1. Good offensive rebound. This is Frierson, and he walked. So Anderson with 7 seconds to go after the 4th Ben Davis turnover. Time to get off a shot. But they'll have to do it against full court press. Here's Campbell with 3 seconds. Looks for a pick, fires half court. It's halftime at Hinkle. And Ben Davis looking for a bit of revenge after losing during the regular season. They have jumped out to a half-point advantage of 31-25. Really a sellout crowd tonight here at Hinkle Fieldhouse, and a lot of the folks were just filing in as the tip was going on. We got started here tonight at 8:15. Again, the Indians didn't arrive till after 7:30. And in the first half, Kojak Fuller has been able to carry them. George McGinnis now standing by with Ben Davis's coach, Steve Whitting.
Steve, you got to be awful pleased with the effort of your team here in the first half.
Our kids really played hard. We're doing a good job on the boards. We just got to figure out a way we control Fuller a little bit better. I don't think you ever stop great shooters from scoring. We got to make him work a little bit harder for the shots he's getting.
What do you think about the second half? What are you looking to do?
Well, we're going to have to play a little bit harder. We're going to have better, the same type of effort on the boards as we had the first half. But, you know, the bottom line is we've got to play good 16 minutes here the second half.
Thanks, Coach. We'll let you get back to your team.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Jim, back to you. It should be a terrific second half.
Okay, thanks, Mac. And you can see how hard Steve Whitting is working by the perspiration on his face. We're back with our halftime festivities with Ben Davis leading by 6.
Big bunches, mounds of scrumptious munches, great chunks and hunks and stacks and rows of brands that everyone knows. We got quality, all the best from A to Z. You're gonna see variety to perk up your menu at Marsh. We value you.
Introducing the 90th anniversary Buick LeSabre, loaded for $18,999. This LeSabre has anti-lock brakes, airbag, air conditioning, power windows and locks, power seat, antenna, cruise and stereo cassette. $18,999. One price, one incredible car.
Buick is leading the way.
The 90th anniversary LeSabre at your Central Indiana Buick dealers, just $18,999.
Anderson knocked off Newcastle this afternoon. Ben Davis beat Columbus North, and Big Mac George McGinnis standing by with the 2 coaches that participated in this afternoon's games. George?
Well, I'm sitting here with Sam from Newcastle, excuse me. Sam, what do you think about this first half of this particular ball game?
Well, we were talking, George, you better be a man if you're going to be out there tonight. The inside play is very strong. Of course, Kojak is trying to keep Anderson in the game, so McClendon and Brett need to get involved, I think, if Anderson's going to get them.
Well, you got to be awful proud of the effort that your team put forth. You had a disappointing finish to your regular season, but you had a terrific tournament, and your kids played really hard.
Oh, we were very pleased, George. We're probably a year ahead of where we thought we would be, and our young kids especially stepped up and did a good job down the stretch of the season, and we played hard. We just aren't physically ready to play with the likes of this.
Well, good job, Sam. Well, Coach, Columbus North, I thought your kids were really tremendous, and I really was impressed with Scott Lloyd. I thought he was a terrific player.
Well, kids played hard, George, and my voice is deaf. And this is a tough game out here, and we're happy with our kids, and I'm really proud of them. And I don't know how we stayed as close to Ben Davis.
Well, how does things stack up for you next year?
We think we'll be okay. We got a good reserve team, and they'll grow up, and we'll be okay.
You guys, anybody got any predictions on the outcome of this ball game?
All it boils down whether one man can beat 5.
How about you, Coach?
You know, I think I'm prejudiced probably because of the North Central Conference, but Ben Davis is very strong. So either way, it's just whoever can last the other one, I guess.
I think I agree. I'm non-committal. It should be a terrific second half.
That's a safe way to go, George. Our thanks to Bill Stearman. Hope he gets his voice back. And Sam Alford of Newcastle for joining us here at the break. And we'll take a break as well with Ben Davis leading at halftime by 6 in the Hinkle Semi-State Final.
I'm a big guy. I'm 6'9", 222 pounds, and I'm an awful big eater. I love hamburgers. When I order them, it's just a regular hamburger. I order 6. If it's a quarter pounder, I order 3. I call this the Big 33. It's got a quarter-pound hamburger with cheese. Got some bacon, barbecue sauce, a few pickles, and some onions. Pretty tasty. Good as advertised.
We know how to help you save on the truck you want during Dodge Truck Month. Take this roomy Dodge Dakota Club Cab. You can get $500 cash back, plus almost $2,700 worth of equipment, like air, stereo cassette, speed control, and cast aluminum wheels at no extra charge. During Dodge Truck Month, we're going to help you save. Your Dodge dealer. We know how to help.
What would you call a radio station that plays today's hottest country stars like Garth Brooks, George Strait, Clint Black, Reba McEntire, and Alan Jackson?
That's real country.
And what if it also played Marty Robbins, Merle Haggard and Willie Nelson, Patsy Cline, and all the classic country hits too?
Now that's real country.
We call it 1430 WCKN, Indy's new home for real country. For the widest variety of country music, it's WCKN.
Now that's real country.
Now's the time to save big on name brand fashions for kids. It's the Spring Super Sale at Value City, featuring an $800,000 special purchase. A beautiful selection of toddler girls and girls' famous maker Easter dresses. Not $17 to $32. Now 3 great price points, only $9.99, $12.99, and $14.99. And part of a $1 million special purchase. Boys 4 to 20 famous maker suits, not $55 to $80. Your choice, $29.99. During the Spring Super Sale at all Value City department stores.
Ben Davis led Anderson at the quarter, 19-15, and then at halftime, 31-25, and that's where we stand right now. Jim Barber along with George McGinnis, and in a few minutes we'll hear from Norm Hell, the fine coach of the Anderson Indians, as he prepares for what should be a very interesting second half, as the Indians find themselves down by half a dozen. First half numbers. Damon Parks leading all for Ben Davis with 9. Don Mallory has 7. Scott George and a couple of threes with 6. Micah Reed with 4. And Damon Frierson with a 3-point shot for 3. As for the Anderson Indians, who else? Kojak Fuller with 19 of the 25 points. Only Campbell, Kelly, and Klusmeyer have scored, and each of them have put in 2. So it's been a Kojak Fuller show so far. And that's why Anderson is hanging around. In fact, Fuller is 9 of 15 from the floor. So everybody else for Anderson just 3 of 13. For Ben Davis, they're shooting 10 of 26, and the half spread is scoring out. That makes a difference. As 6 Giants have scored already as compared to what Anderson's been able to put forth. We'll be back with more of our halftime show with Ben Davis on top by 6.
He's got great muscle tone. He likes milk and it shows. And strong, healthy bones. She likes milk and it shows. Baby, soft skin, bright eyes, a healthy grin. She likes milk and it shows. Milk, it does her body good. With vitamin A to help keep eyes bright, calcium for healthy teeth, and protein to help build muscle. When you drink milk, it shows. He likes milk and it shows. It does her body good. He likes milk and it shows. It does her body.
Conditioned water is a wonderful thing, and people that have it really wonder what they ever did without it. Culligan backs their conditioners with fast, local, dependable service. All you have to do is call your Culligan man. Hey, Culligan man.
Rent a Culligan water conditioner or drinking water system for only $6.90 per month for 3 months at participating Culligan dealers.
Hey, Culligan man.
For over 80 years, Paramount has taken you on a roller coaster of action, adventure, and entertainment. Now, Paramount is about to take you beyond the limits of the motion picture screen to the next generation of excitement, where the magic of the movies meets the thrills of a lifetime. Get ready for Paramount's Kings Island, opening April 9th, weekends beginning April 10th.
In central Indiana, Tom Wood Pontiac GMC is the only name you need to know if you're looking for a smart drive. Drive a 93 Pontiac Grand Am for only $199 a month. At the end of this 36-month lease, turn the car in and get a new Pontiac with another low monthly payment. Save hundreds on a new 93 V6 Sonoma pickup truck, loaded with popular options. This rugged GMC pickup is sale priced at $99.88 at Tom Wood Pontiac GMC.
Welcome back to the finals of the Hinkle Semi-State as the three-point shootout continues here at Hinkle Fieldhouse. In fact, they'll have the finals at the Hoosier Dome next week for both the girls and boys, and it will be a big event Friday night. Not only the three-point shooters Friday and Saturday, but the dunkers as well. That's something we didn't have back in your time.
Well, no. As a matter of fact, when I was a senior in high school and in my first year of college, you couldn't dunk the basketball. I guess it was called the Lou Alcindor rule.
Would you like to have seen this type of contest back then?
Well, I don't know. The players weren't as athletic as these kids are today, but I really thought the kids back when I was young learned the game, the fundamentals of the game. Kids today tend to rely too much on their athleticism.
It's given some of the Columbus North and Newcastle fans something to cheer about after losing this afternoon. They've got some players to back tonight that must make them feel pretty good.
They certainly have. They've done a good job.
And of course, these festivities will commence at the Dome next Friday night. It's a special event that the IHSAA is putting on for the first time to get a little more fan interest in the Final Four, as if there's not enough fan interest anyway, drawing 30 to 35,000.
Well, I think it's the greatest high school tournament in the world, and I think this just adds a little bit more flavor to it. They've kind of taken a little page from the NBA, and it's been fun to watch for me.
Well, and I know another thing, it allows everybody to stay involved and honor some of the athletes that might have been beaten out in the first round of the tournament, show some of more of their individual efforts, and as a result gives them some respect, I guess.
Certainly does, because we're seeing some players that we've already done their games. They've lost in the tournament, but they're out here and they're having a good time.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about some of the days gone by. Let's go back to 1969. You remember that, don't you?
Barely.
Indianapolis, Washington, and Tolleson High School. Remember Henry Goods of Tolleson?
Do I remember Henry Goods? All I can remember was Goods. Good.
Boy, if they had the three-pointer back then, how many would he have scored?
Well, we might have been in trouble that ball game. We really left a lot in that Marion game that afternoon, and boy, he came out and hit everything he threw up. We didn't know much about that ball club, and he was just outstanding. And we ended up winning, I think, 76-73.
And let's look at that team in the home white. You recognize the guy with the jumper there?
That little skinny guy? Who is that? I can't believe you guys are doing this to me.
I think that must be you, isn't it?
Look at that.
Boy,
wow.
I tell you, you just look a couple of pounds slimmer, huh?
Uh-huh.
Look at his pass right here. That's actually a shot.
Wow.
All right, it's a pass coming up right here.
I did pass back then, too.
Look at that. Whoa.
Oh, my.
You know, they talk about you being an offensive player, but you actually played some defense now and then. Let's show you on the defensive transition.
Oh, nice feed.
Look at that. That's incredible. That's 24 years ago. Can you believe it?
Isn't that amazing? Of course, you broke the scoring record held by a good buddy of mine, Bob Ford from Evansville, who led Harrison to the state championship back then.
Well, I remember watching Bob Ford the year before when he got the record, and I thought he was a tremendous player. Boy, when they said, you have broken that record, I know he broke the record. It stood for a number of years, and you know, no one since has broken that record. That was just one of the greatest feelings of my entire life.
And that was the championship trophy presentation, just like yesterday, huh?
Oh, boy, I tell you, it's a long time ago, but memories I'll never forget.
And Washington finished undefeated, beating Gary Tolleson 79-76. It's so hard to win a state championship nowadays, particularly undefeated.
Well, it certainly is. I think the level of competition and kids have gotten so much better athletically. I think it was always tough, but especially today. It's the schedule that Ben Davis and Anderson plays, the North Central Conference, which probably is the toughest conference in the state. You play such stiff competition, it's very difficult to go undefeated.
What were your best memories in 1969, besides the state championship?
Well, you know, one of the great things that when we won a ball game, Bill Green would take us to White Castle, and that's a great memory. It sticks out. And
And you stayed so skinny despite that.
Absolutely, and you know, we didn't get to go against Shortridge my junior year, and they beat us for the regional, but I think the camaraderie is another thing that I remember about that ball club, and even today, that entire team goes over to Washington High School, my old high school, every Thursday night, and we play ball, and then we go out and get pizza. So I think just the fact that I grew up with them guys and we're still close friends means a lot.
Now let's take you from 1969 to the current day, 1993, and let's show you the first half numbers of shooting in this one. Anderson shooting a little bit better than Ben Davis, but it's been all Kojak Fuller so far.
Certainly has, and he's been like a one-man show, and as we see, talked about the shooting percentages, very even, but three-point field goals, Ben Davis 4 of 9, Anderson only 1 of 7, and rebounds, kind of surprising, Ben Davis leading that category 21-14.
That's an interesting stat, Mac, because Anderson controlled Ben Davis in the first meeting. We mentioned earlier 17 offensive boards for the Anderson Indians. This time around, Ben Davis has made a concerted effort to do better on the boards, particularly defensively, and it seems to pay off.
Well, I really thought the key for Ben Davis was their inside people, Reed, Frierson, and Parks, and they really played really well here in the first half, and they were going to have to come up big here in the second half, but it should be a terrific finish to this ball game.
All right, we'll get in position for the second half. Hope you will, too, when we come back in the third quarter between Ben Davis and Anderson.
I'm a big guy. I'm 6'9", 222 pounds, and I'm an awful big eater. I love hamburgers. When I order them, it's just a regular hamburger. I order 6. If it's a quarter pounder, I order 3. I call this the Big 33. It's got a quarter-pound hamburger with cheese. Got some bacon, barbecue sauce, a few pickles, and some onions. Pretty tasty. Good as advertised.
Got to drive that Grand Am, take it for a ride, see how it feels from the inside.
Drive the Pontiac you want with Smart Drive. A new Grand Am for just $199 a month for 36 months or $1,000 cash back. Plus, Pontiac carries protection like roadside assistance, courtesy car, and more. Worry-free driving for 36 months. It's not a lease, it's Smart Drive. See your Central Indiana Pontiac Pack dealer today.
It's either go crazy or go Pontiac Pack.
I'm here with Coach Norm Hell. Coach, what do you think you have to do the second half? You haven't got much offense out of anybody except Fuller. What's going to take the second half?
We've got to get more people involved in the offense, and we've got to do a better job on the boards. If we do those two things, maybe we can get back in here.
Okay, Coach, good luck. All right, should be a terrific second half, and we're going to throw it back to Jim.
Okay, thanks, Mac. Norm Hell getting in position for Anderson, and we will have the start of the third quarter in a matter of a few minutes. Our extended halftime show is over, and now the two teams ready to play basketball. Kojak Fuller with 19 of the Andersons' 25 points, and the Indians, as you saw the numbers earlier, only 1 of 7 three-point shooting. Jerry Baker, Tom Hessian, Hilliard Gates, and myself will be at the Dome next week. The Final Four, and the coverage begins on Channel 4 at 10:30 in the morning. Game number 1 to start at 11 between the Lafayette winner and the winner here tonight at Hinkle. Ben Davis will start the second half with the ball. George quickly underneath Damon Parks, lays it in.
Boy, going right back to the air where they were so effective. Whitty, I think Coach Whitty's done a good job of getting these guys to come back out and attacking the inside.
Damon Parks having that big game that Steve Whitty had hoped for. He's got 11. Now Fuller throwing up a wild shot. Missed it. And the rebound to George. Ben Davis looking for its biggest lead. Mallory can't save it. Or did he? He got a timeout. How about that? Don Mallory falling out of bounds, called a timeout.
Excellent call there by Don Mallory.
Wow.
Had the presence of mind to get the timeout signal to the referee.
So Mallory, as he was falling out of bounds, able to call a timeout. And while Ben Davis has to burn a timeout, Mallory's quick thinking right there keeps Ben Davis with the basketball. Boy, that's a balancing act there, isn't it?
Really was. Good job.
Tell you what, we had a lot of fun looking at that old-time footage of you, Mac.
Boy, that really was a lot of fun. Long time ago, but it's members I'll never forget.
And you're right, you did look a few pounds slimmer back then. Just a few, though.
Well, the food wasn't as good as it is now. It didn't cook thin like they do now.
So Ben Davis using the timeout to keep control of the basketball with the 8-point lead. And I would think the first few moments of this second half very important to Anderson, because they've been unable to stop the front court scoring of Ben Davis.
Boy, really telling stat there. And as I said, a key for Ben Davis is what their front court people are going to do, and they've certainly answered the bell here in this ball game thus far.
Ben Davis's guards doing a good job of looking inside for that entry pass for the easy basket. Now Mallory looks inside again. Here's Michael Reed, and he got fouled. I was watching Steve Woody on the sidelines just shaking his head. This is the game plan, to attack inside, and it's worked very effectively so far.
Really good little out-of-bounds play into Reed, as we see him foul there by Kuzmeyer and get an opportunity for 2 shots. And I'll tell you what, Steve Woody was intense right before we went on. At the interview at halftime, he was really trying to rush and saying hurry up, and sweat was coming from everywhere, and he's really into the ball game. He's focused.
Micah Reed with 5 points as Anderson brings in Daniel Kelly off the bench, and Kuzmeyer, who has 2 fouls, will check out. Ben Davis looking for its biggest lead, up by 9, 34-25. So the Giants have scored the first 4 points of this second half and now lead by 10. Here's Fuller. He's missed his first 2 shots in the second half.
Right. Anderson has got to get some offense from some other people. I know Kojak Fuller's a great player, but the points got to be distributed here in the second half.
And as the first half graphic showed you, only 6 points have come from everybody else besides Fuller. And Davis on the line turns it over, and Anderson will get it back. And that is the 6th Ben Davis turnover.
Against a lot of teams, they can use Kojak Fuller and let him literally individually get his team back in the ball game. But Ben Davis is too good a team.
Here's Campbell. And Ben Davis with the rebound. 1 shot at the basket for Anderson. Now Mallory starts to penetrate. And the Giants will back it out wisely. Left corner jumper, Frierson.
Oh, that was an excellent play. Frierson comes off a double pick. Mallory really delivers the ball in a great position. All he had to do was turn square and shoot, and he got it down.
It's the largest lead of the game for Ben Davis. It's up to a dozen. Now McClendon down low, banks it off the glass and in.
Well, Anderson's fouling, starting to figure out if they get the ball down low, they're going to score too, and they need to do more of that.
And that's Prince McClendon's first basket in the first meeting between the 2 teams. He had 14. So that's made a difference once again.
Oh!
Can you believe that?
That's one for the highlight film. And
that's for everybody's highlight film.
It's an excuse me and thank you very much.
Parks gets credit for the basket. He's got 13. Now Kelly underneath, and Daniel Kelly has played 2 strong games today. Gets the basket in.
And Reed just really got hit there. And
yeah, he got clobbered, I think.
Doesn't looks like he's in some serious pain. Let's hope it's nothing serious.
Might have got attacked in the groin. Another look at the strange basket, and Parks says, hey, we work on that all the time.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
Eamon Parks is really in the flow of things. Well, we told you earlier today, as you look at Micah Reed on the floor, that Parks is the type of player that Steve Woody said there's not a whole lot wrong with his game. It's just that since he's been double, triple teamed, he picked up a couple of bad habits. All he needs to do is get back to fundamentals.
Well, one of the things he needs to learn is that no matter what ball game he's involved with, no matter what team he plays, is to play hard all the time, come focused, and look at this Ben Davis crowd respond to Reed getting up off the floor.
Yeah, Micah says he's okay, but Patterson will give him a blow. And look at Micah Reed, he's fired up. You get the feeling that Ben Davis smells the opportunity.
They really do, but this Anderson team is too good to just lay down. I think that there'll be a run made by them before this ball game is said and done.
It would be hard to believe not to see that happen. Here's Frierson.
Oh, wow.
Damon Frierson with his second 3 of the game. He's got 6. Now Fuller tries to go to work, put up a tough shot and got fouled. What we saw there for Anderson was a one-on-one move by Fuller. Is it a little early to be panicking?
It's just letting one player try and do too much. And, you know, if he was a 6'10" or 7-foot player where you could get the ball in down low, I could see it. But he's trying to beat 2, 3, 4 people, and that's just not going to get it done. That time, Ben Davis done a real good job defensively of sending 3 different players after him. Fortunately, he was fouled, and now he's got an opportunity for 2 free throws.
And what Anderson did in the first game against Ben Davis, Mac, as Fuller's up to 20, they used Prince McClendon on the blocks for the 2-man game. When McClendon didn't shoot, he'd kick it out for the jumper by Fuller.
Right. One of the tough things for teams that are so good, and we experienced that against Marion in '69, is that you very rarely play from behind, so you don't know how to respond when you're in that situation.
A steal by Fuller, and the jumper is good. Now Anderson looks to turn up the heat. And Ben Davis will track it down in the corners. Patterson got to it. Parks underneath, lays it in. How about the game from David Parks? He's got 15.
He's made a big contribution tonight.
Campbell looks underneath to Tyson Britt. Britt has not been a factor tonight, and the problem with Fuller having the type of game he's having while he's played very well is Britt has not touched the ball very much. Well, again, he had 26 in the first meeting.
Well, you know, he really has not had an opportunity to get the ball. It's been all Kojak Fuller. And, you know, I'm not saying that's all bad, but, well, there's 4 of the guys out there, and they've got to get involved.
Here's Fuller with the long shot. It's a 2. Put on the line. It's a 9-point game. Ben Davis, Jim Barber, and George McGinnis, and Anderson with the full court pressure. $25 points for Kojak Fuller. He may get a career high tonight. The question is, will Anderson get a trip to the Final Four? The entire Ben Davis bench is standing. Here's Frierson going to work. And he got fouled. This sophomore is cool.
Well, I just love the coaching job Steve Woody is doing with this Ben Davis ball club. They're really doing a good job of running their offense, and you can tell their offense is directed at their inside people, and they've been showing great patience, but they don't have the first option. They're going to the second, third option, and they're getting great results.
That is the 3rd personal foul on 51 McClendon, as you looked at Tyson Britt moments ago. And the free throw by David Frierson is good. He has 7. He averages for the season 10, and this afternoon against Columbus North, he scored 9.
Oh, I love this kid. He can play on my team anytime.
We're playing Steve Woody's team 2 more years. The 3, a little long, but Frierson with the rebound. And we got a pushing foul coming up against Anderson, and if that's on McClendon, that's number 4. Nope.
Well,
it's on Tyson Britt, and for Tyson Britt, that's number 3.
Well, one of the things that we thought that where Anderson really had a big advantage in this game, especially with you seeing the first ball game against these 2 teams, were the rebounding advantage, and it's been just the opposite. Ben Davis has been the aggressor.
When these 2 teams met the first time, it was Ben Davis's 9th game in 21 days. So if fatigue was a factor, it certainly was in that first matchup. This time around, Ben Davis has had a little more rest than Anderson, having played the earlier game. Right now, the Giants holding on to a 10-point lead, and we're halfway through the 3rd quarter. George on the cut, but Campbell picks him up. They don't want George popping the 3s. And for the most part, they have contained him.
Well, he's really showed good patience. He's got a knack to really want to look to shoot first, and really showed a lot of patience this ball game.
Here's Fuller shooting and scoring. Kojak Fuller's got 28. In transition, he can hit the rock. And now it's a 7-point Ben Davis leading. Here comes that Anderson run you talked about, Matt.
Well, you know that they're good enough where Ben Davis is just not going to walk away with this ball game, but they show some patience and do what's gotten them to this point. they can get a lot of good positive results.
Really another turnover. George with a good fake, and he got the foul, and Anderson now picking up his 14th foul. The last time Ben Davis had the ball, they did a good job, the Indians did, of double-teaming George and forcing the turnover. This time around, they wanted to keep the ball in the hands of Don Mallory.
Well, I don't know. Defensively, they've accomplished one thing, and that's stopping Scott George, but they have not done a good job on the interior, and Ben Davis has done a good job with their front line people.
George had 23 this afternoon and averages 16. He has scored 6 tonight.
Boy. You know, free throws, I think, before this game is all said and done, is going to come up big for both teams.
Ben Davis, with its biggest lead earlier at 12, is up by 7. George missed them both. And now Anderson looking to continue its run. Campbell looking for Fuller, gets it to Kelly instead. They're looking for Kojak, and Mallory's in his shorts. Now Campbell backs out with a dribble, 2:50 to go in the third. Here's Fuller, open free throw line. What a sensational game he's having. He's got 30. And it's down to a 5-point game.
He's a great little offensive player.
The way he's performing, he seems to be giving a clue that maybe he can do it single-handedly. Reed tangled up, and let's see if Ben Davis goes back to its strength, namely David Parks down low.
Well, Anderson really has stepped it up defensively.
Ryerson gets the roll. That's a big basket right there as Anderson was starting to make a strong run. 9 points in the game for the sophomore. This is the Hinkle Semi-State Championship live from Indianapolis, and the steal. And McClendon lying on the floor in pain. One of the Ben Davis Giants is down as well.
Yeah, both guys are down. McClendon with an ankle, and Reed, of course, has got a cramp. He's got a cramp.
Yeah.
I will never forget the cramps that I had in the second ball game of the state championship. It's really unbelievable. That's just from playing 2 games in one day. He extended himself and almost done the splits, and at that point he got the cramp. McClendon looks like he's got an ankle injury. I don't know how he hurt his ankle, but let's hope that's not serious.
Both players are being worked on right now. I'll show you another look as McClendon goes down.
We just caught the tail end of that play.
And there was Micah Reed doing a split.
Yeah, he really did. And not the greatest of feelings, but I think he'll be all right. And McClendon looks like he's getting up, and that's a good sign.
So Prince McClendon is walking off on his own accord. And right now, Micah Reed, who's looking at the Anderson bench, after getting a massage, may be able to do likewise, but we'll wait and see. Reed is being helped up. He's been on the floor a lot tonight, Mac.
Yeah, he really has. He's done a good job, especially off the glass at both ends of the court. You know, he's been one of the players I talked about that really would have to step up for Ben Davis, and boy, it looks like he's...
this will be a tough injury.
Yeah, sure will.
So Micah Reed being helped off. Let's hope he's okay. Prince McClendon is all right, but he is on the bench right now.
Well, looks like James Patterson is going to be the guy who's going to be replacing Reed, and you know, he's going to have to step up and deliver here, because I'll tell you, without Reed, Ben Davis is going to lose some of that inside force that they've had in this ball game.
Micah Reed has scored 8 points in the game, and he is being worked on at the Ben Davis bench. As we resume action, the Giants up by 7, under 2 minutes to go in the third. Ryerson pops out, shot it long. And Klusmeyer over the back. Big Ben Klusmeyer going over the back. The 15th foul on Anderson. It's a non-shooting foul, and so Ben Davis will have it out of bounds.
Anderson again.
Klusmeyer, excuse me, Mac, that's his third.
And we see Frierson take the shot again. Parks real aggressive to the board, and Kuzma trying to front Parks to try and prevent the entry pass, and the shot went up quickly and gave Parks inside position.
So Prince McClendon, after his injury moments ago, now in the game. Kuzmeyer on the bench. Chastain working against 15. Marcus Cooley in the game now for Anderson. Patterson had a shot, gave it up, and turned it over.
Boy, he gets that close, he's got to take the shot.
Here's Kelly. Fuller popping out for three. This time he missed it, and the rebound tapped out to Scott George. And Davis 47, Anderson 40 as Chastain works against Cooley. And Davis can go as many as 9 or 10 deep. Anderson about 7. Here's George popping out against Fuller. Now Chastain looking for Parks. And he got fouled. David Parks very active tonight.
You know, it's just a simple ball game, and this game is pretty simple. When Ben Davis gets the ball inside, good things happen.
We talked about Damon Parks being more active in the earlier game against Columbus North, and you can almost add that to tonight's game as well. His performance, his 15 points, the big difference.
Well, not only that, the way he's played the game, the way he's focused on this particular ball game, the way he's approached it, all the little things he's done has really made a difference.
And Davis missing some free throws here in the third quarter, and Steve Whitty motioning over Parks how to bend the wrist.
Boy, Ben Davis really shooting awful here in the second half from the free throw line. Could hurt him.
He leaves 1 of 2, and it's an 8-point lead as we're deep into the third quarter. And Jim Barber courtside with George McGinnis. And a trip to the finals is at stake. Here's Fuller penetrating. Missed his last 2. Fuller got the rebound.
Wow.
How did that little guy get underneath on the rebound?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This guy is just, he amazes me. I mean, he takes it into the land of the Giants. Watch here, he takes it inside, and Frierson puts his hands up, and he goes after the basketball. Look at the height, how he gets up off the floor and able to grab that rebound strong and take it back up, and here with a 2-shot opportunity.
That's one of the few things he has missed tonight.
Well, I wonder if Kojak's legs are getting a little tired. He's taken a lot of shots in these last 2 ball games, and that could be a factor.
31 points for Kojak Fuller. And a foul coming up against Anderson in the backcourt.
Ben Davis now in the penalty situation, and again, they're going to have to do a better job from the free throw stripe.
A little help on the sideline for Micah Reed. You saw the numbers earlier for Tyson Britt, who now has 4 fouls for Anderson. Kuzmeyer in, and Brett with 4 fouls, along with Marcus Cooley check out. Raymond Frierson at the line. Looking for double figures, which is what he averages. 49-41 Ben Davis. He's an 89% free throw shooter, and he bags both of them as Peacock checks in. And Frierson will get a rest. But not for long. Just the final minute of this quarter, and the break they have between periods. Campbell throws up a shot, missed it. Kuzmeyer with the rebound. He scores.
Boy.
And he got fouled. Big rebound by Big Ben.
Big Ben, all pretty good aggressive rebound, but how about taking it up strong? You don't get much offense out of this big fella, but that time he's done a terrific job of gathering that rebound and getting it up and in.
If Fuller is starting to get tired, as you speculated, they need performances from Kuzmeyer and Britt and McClendon. They need to get them active.
Well, they certainly do. And Jamie Campbell had a great game this afternoon. They're going to have to get some production out of him also.
Now it's down to a 6-point lead as Ben Davis beats the press. That's see if the Giants hold for one. Fuller extending the pressure with 15 seconds to go in the quarter. And now a holding foul coming up on Kojak, and you can't believe it.
Tell you what, that was an awful close call there. The Anderson bench erupting, and thought Kojak did a pretty good job defensively. And Norm Hill, we can see the disgust on his face. He can't believe it.
He swiped once right there.
Boy, it looks like Scott George got a little cute with the basketball, and Kojak was able to get his hand in. Tough call there for Anderson.
A symbol of composure, Norm Hill, but he is not thrilled with the call. George misses the 1-and-1. 10 seconds to go in the period. They've got the right man with the ball. This is Fuller. Leaning, firing, missing, but he got fouled. And Anderson is fighting back.
They certainly are. Scott George also has the cramps now. You're seeing fatigue play a big factor in this ball game. The fact that they're playing 2 games in one day. Scott George, of course, really hurting, and Whitty's going to have to get him out of the ball game. I don't know if we can take a look at Scott, especially after these free throws coming up the court, but he is bothered by the cramps.
Got his hands on his knees right now, taking a deep breath. What a sensational night for Kojak Fuller. And he has brought the Indians back within 5. Now 4. That's the time remaining in the third quarter. Here's George, gets past the defense for Parks, puts it up, scores!
Great play by Ben Davis.
What a big basket by the Giants, and they'll cap the third quarter with a 6-point lead. When we come back, a dramatic fourth quarter between Ben Davis and Anderson. The Giants up by 6.
We aim to please and thank you, so you'll know how much we care. We always give you the best, we sure do, and deliver it with flair. It's never a labor to do you a favor, a smile and a how do you do. Serving you is a pleasure to us. At Marsh, we value you.
Yes?
We need a new tire.
And you'll need a shock and a strut and a lube and a brake and a rust-proof job so your paint don't flake.
Wait! I know! Tire Barn!
At the Tire Barn Warehouse, we'll sell you the tire you want and give you the fast, high-tech tire service you need. And we won't make you buy the farm. Because at the Tire Barn, tires are all we do.
Tire Barn. Major brand quality, wholesale price.
Hidden by the Ben Davis bench is Scott George, who went off at the end of the third quarter with what appears to be cramps.
Well, I saw it happen within the last few seconds there in the third quarter. He seemed to be in severe pain, so Ben Davis now has 2 players, Reed and George, who are really troubled by the cramps, and that could end up playing a big factor in the outcome of this ball game.
I was watching the Ben Davis bench. George wanted to go out there to start the fourth, but they held him back. Fuller hanging in the air and scoring.
I just can't believe Kojak Fuller. He is unbelievable.
His season high is 40. Anderson going for the trap. McClendon ran into Mallory, and they didn't see it. And it's out of bounds to Anderson. What a break for the Indians.
Well, they got rewarded for their aggressive defense, and now Ben Davis is really going to have to do a good job of not only taking care of the basketball, but making good decisions.
Kojak Fuller with 35 for Anderson. And with the ball.
5 seconds.
Boy, we haven't seen that call all night.
Wow.
Look at Norm. What's he thinking right now? Now Patterson looking underneath to Parks. Triple team. Patterson, I don't know if he can catch his own ball, and he scored.
He got away with one there. He double dribbled. He can't take the ball.
Nope.
Look to shoot, catch it, and shoot it again.
Here comes Fuller, and an offensive foul on Kojak Fuller. And the Anderson bench is not happy, and now Fuller is down.
Well, let's watch Kojak take it strong to the hole. Hawks coming over. He looks like he was not set on that play. Anderson really looks like they got a bad call that time. I think overall the officiating has been pretty good.
54-48, Ben Davis. Mallory working against Fuller, uses up his dribble. Now look at the trap by the Indians. Good half-court defense. Mallory gets loose and scores.
Oh, big hoop.
The thing I like about Ben Davis, they seem to answer every run. Here's Fuller again. Kojak Fuller with 37. And now we've got a 5-second violation on Ben Davis.
Boy.
This place is starting to heat up.
It's rocking and rolling in here in the field house tonight. And boy, I can barely hear myself talk above this crowd. And Anderson really starting to put some tremendous defensive pressure on.
Fuller for three, left it short. And Mallory comes down with a rebound. And now he's in trouble. George lost the ball. Picked up by the Indians. Little helter-skelter there, and it's knocked out of bounds by Ben Davis. And every call right now being contested.
Oh, it really is.
That's how big a game this is and how competitive these two teams are. And with that in mind, they could both use a break. Timeout Anderson. Don't go anywhere, folks. We got a dandy tonight. Ben Davis by 6 and still 6:14 left.
I think the first time I went to a McDonald's was in Bloomington, Indiana. I was driving down the road, and all of a sudden, I think my father got hungry, and he says, time to eat. Even today, I still enjoy eating hamburgers from McDonald's. About time to have one now. I call this the Big 33. I got a quarter-pound hamburger with cheese, got some bacon, barbecue sauce, a few pickles, and some onions. Matter of fact, it's got a lot of barbecue sauce in it. I'm going to say, give me a 99, 3 33s. I need a napkin, got some barbecue sauce on it.
Sometimes the wait can seem like forever because not everyone shops H.H. Gregg.
They said they'd deliver it when they were good and ready.
You shouldn't be trapped by someone else's schedule.
I should have bought it at H.H. Gregg.
That's why Gregg offers same-day express delivery on all of our appliances and electronics.
I hope they show up before the warranty runs out.
Plus, when H.H. Gregg delivers, we can even call you an hour ahead to let you know we're on our way.
For George McGinnis, I'm Jim Barber. It's 56-50 Ben Davis as we resume play here in the fourth and final quarter. Kojak Fuller leading all with 37. And Anderson with a ball out of bounds. Team foul, 7 for Anderson, 5 for Ben Davis. That's a pretty good indication of what Fuller has done. The rest of his teammates, not much of a supporting cast. Fuller again, missed it, but he got fouled. And what's happening is they're just letting him go one-on-one.
They really are. And, you know, if I'm witty at this point, now I got to think about, you know, here's a guy who's got 37 points against me. The rest of the whole team has 13. Maybe I might want to look at a box and 1, you know, and put Mallory as the chaser. You're up by 6. You know, he's the only player that's really hurt you. No one else has.
And it looks as if Anderson has said, let's give it to Fuller. Let's clear out and put it in his hands. (56-51) Ben Davis. Micah Reed back in the game after that injury earlier. So both Reed and McClendon have come back in. 39 for Kojak Fuller. A 4-point Ben Davis lead. 4 defenders in the backcourt. If Ben Davis can get it across, somebody could be open. And instead, they'll hold it up. Again, team foul situation. 17 fouls on Anderson, 6 on Ben Davis. Both teams are in the bonus. And the possession arrow to Ben Davis off the steal. Campbell missed the layup.
Oh, wow.
And a foul over the back on Klusmeyer. And
wow, big
Jimmy
miss.
Campbell had a chance to cut it to 2 and missed it.
Boy, Norm Held awful upset. Really thought Scott George, I think it was Scott George, got a hand in the back of Campbell. Let's take a quick look. There's the hand, and that's what the Anderson people were yelling about. Looked like the momentum carried him under the bucket very quickly, and he was able to miss that lay. That's a big miss, Jim.
I'll tell you what, I don't know what he's feeling like inside, but I think Norm looks pretty controlled outside.
He really does. He's a lot more calmer than I am.
He went through the heart problems earlier this season, but told me in practice a few days ago, I'm in good health, and I want to leave the game in good health.
Well, you know what? It looks like he has learned to relax. You saw the same thing with Mike Dick in Chicago.
Hard to do in such a pressure-packed sport as this. And then Frierson hits them both. He's the man that Ben Davis would love to have at the line the rest of the way. Back to a 6-point lead. Here's Kojak with one move and the basket.
You know, it makes no sense at this point to have Scott George on Kojak Fuller. I mean, he's just literally just waving at him, and I just don't understand that decision. There again, the cramp has bothered Reed.
And Micah Reed is down again, and he is pretty frustrated with it.
Boy,
they want to help him up, but he is hurt.
Boy, he is really hurt. And look at the emotion.
I don't think he can continue.
I think he's got to come out of the ball game. And
you know, he wants to play, but now he's motioning over to Ben Davis' bench, and he is really disappointed.
Woody's got to get him out of the ball game here.
Well, Ben Davis is forced to use a timeout, so at 5:27 left, that will allow Micah Reed to go to the sidelines, and he will be replaced. And we'll be back with more in the Hinkle Finals of the semi-state here on Channel 4.
Marsh is proud to be a telecast sponsor of the IHSAA Boys Basketball Championships. Congratulations to those teams that have it all in the bag.
Got to drive that Grand Am, take it for a ride, see how it feels from the inside.
Drive the Pontiac you want with Smart Drive. A new Grand Am for just $199 a month for 36 months or $1,000 cash back. Plus, Pontiac carries protection like roadside assistance, courtesy car, and more. Worry-free driving for 36 months. It's not a lease, it's Smart Drive. See your Central Indiana Pontiac Pack dealer today.
Feelings go crazy over Pontiac Pack.
IU assistant coach Dan Dockridge is in the house right now as you look at Kojak Fuller. All right, if you're Ben Davis, how do you defend against him?
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't put Scott George on Kojak Fuller. It looks like Ben Davis has come out with that matchup again. That matchup favors Anderson, and they're going to get points or fouls off that situation every time down.
Let's see if he gets some help. Skates past George, misses the shot, and Frierson knocks it out of bounds.
See, it's just too easy. He's able to just put it on the floor and basically do what he wants. Ben Davis would be better off in his own defense at this point.
And they play very little zone. Steve Woody was telling me, I think the Giants have played only minutes of zone in his 4 years. Fuller misses that three, and the rebound to Frierson. He avoids the tie-up and gets it to Patterson. And a push on Jimmy Campbell, and we'll shoot free throws for both sides the rest of the way. Well, what Fuller does off the defense against Scott George, he gives him that one move, and he's past him.
Certainly is. And, you know, he's tough enough to guard when you got great kick, great quickness, and defensive skills. And Scott George bothered, slowed by the cramps, and being not as quick as Fuller is just not an even proposition for Ben Davis.
George, 78% from the line, gets the first one. Anderson has not been able to get any closer than 4 points. They've made a couple of runs here, but Ben Davis has been able to keep them away from a real serious play. 8 points in the game for Scott George. Up to Fuller. George picks him up at the arc. Campbell will try the three. And off the loose ball, Fuller with a rebound. Fuller lost it. Picked up by Mallory. Here's Mallory into the front court.
Oh, great pass, Don Mallory. I love that.
Ben Davis by 8. That's a big series right there, and that's only the second basket of the game off the pass from Mallory. Now McClendon underneath, missed the shot, but he'll go to the free throw line. And McClendon is down.
Boy, what a ball game.
This has been a war.
Physical, everything you want in a great basketball matchup. These teams have brought it to the table here tonight, Jim.
Well, our monitors are a little fuzzy, Mac, but underneath, we just saw some of the activity by Ben Davis.
Well, it's just Anderson has really made a couple of real hard runs at Ben Davis here, but they've been able to answer the call. And we talked about this afternoon making that run, but not being able to get over the hump. And I don't know how many more runs does Anderson have left in him.
That's McClendon, gets his third point, and again, he had a fine game the first time out with 14 points and many offensive rebounds for baskets. He's been held to 3, and frankly, he just hasn't touched the ball much.
Really hasn't. It's been all Kojak Fuller. He is really playing an outstanding offensive game.
I still think a couple of entry passes into McClendon sets up the option of kicking it back to Fuller or going strong inside. But Anderson, at least at this point, living and dying with his senior guard, Kojak Fuller. 6-point lead, 4:10 to go. Patterson, no foul call. Ball is still loose and knocked out of bounds, but before that, a foul. Actually, it was knocked out of bounds by Ben Davis. I thought it was off Anderson.
Yeah, it certainly was. I did too. That didn't look like the official got the right call on that particular play, but Ben Davis not being very firm and strong with the basketball, and as a result, you're going to get some problems. You got to be much stronger with the ball, Jim.
We're live in the Hinkle Semi-State Championship game in the city of Indianapolis. The winner beats the winner of Carmel and Maryville in the finals. Game number 1 next week in the Hoosier Dome.
Well, at least Ben Davis has switched Frierson back on Kojak, and that's a much better proposition for him.
Particularly because Frierson is quicker and he's bigger.
Absolutely.
Here's Fuller getting the pick and firing and scoring. That's a 2, and he's got 43.
Unbelievable.
Terry Moore, keeping our numbers, is running out of a sheet for his scoring. Good pass to Patterson, and give little Don Mallory some credit there.
Has he been outstanding tonight? Great decision by Don Mallory.
Ben Davis answers every basket by Fuller. Now Campbell finds Brett. Here's Kuzmeyer off balance, or rather Brett off balance, and he traveled. Anderson coaching staff thought he got fouled. They've been pretty active on the officiating, and Norm Held has been the model of composure.
He certainly has, and boy, with the way this ball game has evolved, he's certainly got more composure than I do.
3:15 left. Ben Davis has turned the ball over 13 times. Anderson only 7. You look for the Giants to start holding up the ball?
I really do. I don't think they want to completely hold the ball. They want to look for opportunities, but they want to be very patient.
Mallory had used up his dribble.
Yeah, one of the things you really got to keep your dribble here.
Here's Patterson. It's a Mallory. Good fake. And the layup.
That's just beautiful. Excellent job there, running their offense and really done a good job. Mallory has just been outstanding, Jim.
He has scored 11, and Ben Davis getting closer to its first ever trip to the Dome. Now Fuller with the 3. And the rebound underneath the Patterson. And let's see if Ben Davis starts to use up some more time. Instead, it's knocked out of the hands of Parks by Jimmy Campbell. 2:29 to go in the game.
Well, Don Mallory has done everything right this ball game, but that time really don't want to make that pass.
And if time permits, we will talk with a winning coach. Right now, we'll take a break with Ben Davis up by 8.
This Wild West moment brought to you by J.D. Byrider.
Stage journeys held many perils. On one trip, passengers were amazed at the expertise of the driver as their coach ran at full speed along steep canyon drops. But you'll find out what really surprised these travelers in a moment.
It's a good, dependable car. It's clean, reliable.
I went in and told them how much, I had to pay each week, and they said no problem.
About 3 hours later, I was driving away in my car.
This was a good way to get our credit reestablished.
And they said, you've been approved, just come down and pick out what you want.
J.D. Byrider.
At the end of a treacherous journey, passengers got off their coach to thank the driver, only to discover that he'd gotten drunk and fallen off miles before.
Norm Held of Anderson in his final season has won 5 semi-state championships. Steve Whitty looking for his very first and getting very closer.
Boy, you're really wondering what's going through the head of Norm Held, and really he has been the man. And as we take a look at foul trouble, both teams, and everybody really expected him to go out with a state championship, and he's in trouble.
I said very close, and very close would be good enough. I think that's the grammatical part of it. Here's Frierson, lost the ball out of bounds. Good defense by Kirk Horton, the 15th Ben Davis turnover.
Excellent defense there by Anderson, and they're going to have to come out and get something pretty quick here.
Here's Kelly penetrating.
Oh, wow.
By Frierson. Now Mallory gets past Campbell in the front court. Under 2 minutes left in the game.
Boy, you want the ball in this guy's hand. Oh.
Another turnover and another chance for Anderson. On the break, here's Campbell. Knocked away.
Wow.
But Mallory on the line. Now Mallory is everywhere.
Yeah, he's like a little bug. He takes a licking, he keeps on ticking. He's done a good job.
Fuller with the 3. Good. Kojak Fuller with 46, Matt.
Still a lot of time in this ball game. 5-point difference. Minute 35 seconds. Ben Davis really going to have to do a good job of taking care of the basketball.
Back in 1970 in the state finals, I saw Dave Shepard score 40 against East Chicago Roosevelt. I thought that was big that night. His performance by Fuller is sensational. Mallory lost the ball out of bounds. Wow. And now he goes over the bench. Be careful, Don. And we have a Ben Davis timeout with a minute 24 left. Well, the Giants look like they were under control. What's happened in the final 3 possessions?
Well, I think the defensive pressure has really hurt Ben Davis, and they have not done a good job of making decisions. That time, Don Mallory, instead of pulling the ball back out, took it into the teeth of the defense and trying to take it across the lane. And one of the Anderson players got a hand on it, and he was able to get the ball kicked off of Mallory's foot. They really need to pull it back, spread the court, look for some back cuts, be strong to the ball, take care of it.
What's Norm Held discussing right now?
Well, I think that, I don't think it's any secret what Norm Held is saying. We're going to go to the guy who brought us to this dance. And with the type of game that Kojak Fuller's had, we certainly can look for him to have the basketball. But by the same token, if he gets double or triple team, it's going to leave some people on the inside open. They might be able to get a quick opportunity there.
This seems like a very important possession for Anderson because a basket would get them within 1 possession.
Absolutely, and they don't need the 3. They just need a bucket, and they need it in a hurry.
Here's the man of the night with 46, Kojak Fuller. Fuller working past George, firing, missing. Fuller got the rebound, and he got fouled going up.
Wow.
The thing that's so impressive by Fuller, besides the obvious, is that even off a missed shot, he's battling for the rebound.
Unbelievable. Here's a guy 5'7", taking it inside off the dribble. He's awful tough off the dribble. Look, floating little running shot there. was able to get in there to the land of the Giants, grab the rebound. This guy's unbelievable. I don't think that there's been a performance like this in the semi-state in a long time.
It was a few years back when Steve Alford scored 57 against Broad Ripple. Kojak Fuller has 47. And Alford did that in one of the afternoon games of the semi-state. What a night, and a lane violation on Kelly. Wow. That hurts. Take the point away from Fuller. And more importantly, it'll take a couple of baskets to tie.
Big error there.
Baseball pass intended for Georgia. Intercepted. Getting down to 1 minute left in regulation. Kelly looking for Fuller. Fuller firing a three. Missed it. Anderson hurried his shot, and Patterson got fouled. And that might be one of the few times that Fuller took a bad shot.
Well, it was awful quick. And tell you what, it's tough to argue with a guy who's got 47 points. And you know, his teammates really have not got involved offensively, so I don't know if you really look to them with a minute to go in the ball game. And he's delivered so far, so he's a very confident player. I think in our eyes, that's not a good shot. But to Kojak Fuller, with his confidence, it was.
Of course, if he hits it, it's a great shot.
Yeah.
Patterson way long on a 1-and-1. Got the rebound, missed it. Wow. But Parks got the second rebound. This is what Ben Davis did against Columbus North this afternoon. They're 50 seconds away from the title, and a foul coming up on McClendon. Wow. And for McClendon, that will be number 5.
Well, he played a terrific game this afternoon and really never was able to get involved offensively, and picked up some early fouls in the first half and really has not been a factor in this ball game. 4 points.
Once again, the sportsmanlike efforts on the part of both teams.
Yeah, I really like that. We saw that this afternoon, and I really think that speaks a lot highly not only of the kid but of the coaching staff. It's excellent sportsmanship.
Damon Parks, who has scored 18, goes to the free throw line for the 1-and-1. Ben Davis's lead is up to 5. One more for Parks. Rims it in now. There's Patterson underneath and out of bounds to Ben Davis. And you have to credit the Giants. Off the missed free throws, they have really battled.
Well, they have been the aggressor to the ball off the glass tonight, and that time, that particular play paid great dividends.
It sealed the win against Columbus North, and it could do the same tonight against Anderson. Indians have got to get a turnover quick. And what do we got? Looks like Ben Davis got a timeout with 37.8 seconds. Steve Woody was wondering if a foul had been called, but instead a timeout has been granted.
Well, this has just been an outstanding ball game, and we really had a good feeling about this game. It really hasn't disappointed me, Jim.
When the teams met back in Anderson in January, they honored the legendary coaches of Anderson High School, and someday they'll be honoring the legendary players, and Kojak Fuller will be among that ceremony.
Well, I'll tell you, he has had an outstanding ball game, but nothing from his teammates. And, you know, the 47 points is great, but I'm sure he'd rather have the win.
Can you interpret what's going on there?
Looks like they're playing Scrabble.
A lot of help you are.
Yeah. Well, I think what Steve Woody is doing with his Ben Davis Giants is simply trying to spread the court, try and put the ball in the hands of his good free throw shooters, and because he knows Anderson at this point has to foul, and I think the important thing here is getting the ball in bounds.
Patterson gets it to Parks. They'll foul him immediately. And the foul is on Kuzmeyer. And Kuzmeyer and Parks talk it over. Eamon Parks is not a bad player from the Anderson perspective to put on the line. Although he shoots 72%, he has struggled from the stripe, and now Kuzmeyer has fouled out again. Big Ben has a big football career coming up in Indiana, though.
Well, he's done a nice job for this Anderson ball club, and he's going on to another phase of his career, which is going to be football, but he's been a big contributor to all the success that this Anderson team has had the last 2 or 3 years.
One in bonus for Parks. In and out, another offensive rebound. The Ben Davis Giants refuse to be blocked out from the free throw line. We saw this against Columbus North, and we have really seen it unfold in the final minute tonight.
Well, it's just been like a dagger to the heart.
Oh, man.
For this Anderson ball club. And Ben Davis, time and again, especially here down the stretch, has been able to come up with that big offensive rebound. And it's really just been a terrible detriment for Anderson.
Campbell becomes the third Indian to foul out. Steve Woody a half a minute away. Well, he should see some free throws to ice it.
Well, he showed some intensity. I really think this is a great time for Ben Davis and Steve Woody and his program. And, well, they also feel for Norm Hill. I think he's done a really good job up in Anderson for 18 years. And, you know, he really had the #1 team in the state and really thought he had a great opportunity to win it this year.
Still, Ben Davis unable to put it away.
This game by no means is over. I'm not suggesting that Ben Davis has won the ball game, but boy, everything looks to be in their favor.
They could use a couple more free throws to make Steve Woody relax. Missed them both. But Patterson nearly got another offensive board, and the Indians threw it away. They've had their chances in the last minute.
Unforced errors and offensive rebounds have really killed them.
Seems like Ben Davis has held the ball for the last couple of minutes. Anderson's got a foul. Instead, they go for the steal, and they don't get it. And here's Frierson. Waves it in. And Ben Davis is going to win it. The Giants are going to the Final Four. And it'll be their first ever trip. Congratulations to Ben Davis. This game is over.
Boy, look at the celebration. Let's just enjoy it.
Final score, Ben Davis 71 and Anderson 62. We'll be back to wrap it up in a moment.